Hello, and welcome to Tech presented by KaiZen, where we will explore common cleaning questions and answers. Let's get started. I would like to introduce KaiZen's own Charlie Pitarys.
Welcome. This is a continuation or part two of our Cleaning No Clean Flux Paste series. This one's titled, Why Are You Using It? Well, in the beginning, those of us that are old enough to remember, in 1987, the Montreal Protocol came about. And quickly what happened after that was legacy cleaning solvents like trichloroethylene and Freon were banned. They were great to clean the flux residues of the day, but now they're no more. So contract manufacturers and OEMs were left with the question of, where do I go now? And then it became the idea of not cleaning the flux was introduced. Low residue flux formulas were fast-tracked. Wave solder fluxes of less than 4% were developed, and surface mount flux residues were created and designed to be left on the board. Inert atmosphere reflow was adopted by some. The nitrogen atmosphere produced a very low residue remaining on the surface mount reflow flux residues. And it got to be quickly seen that even though if you had a water soluble flux, cleaning with DI water, or if you needed a cleaning agent to clean your RMA fluxes, it was an added cost. And do I use this no clean and not clean it? The cleaning agents added costs to the process, but did it add any additional reliability? So quickly it became that if we don't clean the flux, we're going to save money. So since 1987, we saw the money saving quickly kicked in. A lot of offshoring was done by contract manufacturers. The telecommunication industry took off, and miniaturization became more developed. Cell phones got smaller and smaller and smaller. Even everyday devices got more miniaturized. And since then, most electronics lived a gentle life. They were used in indoor environments like PlayStations, Xboxes, PCs, laptops. They weren't exposed to the elements. And then no clean residues were fine if you left them on the board. So the bottom line is costs drove everything. And the contract manufacturers prefer to use the same process. They adopted no clean, and they didn't want to switch. If they picked up a new account, they pretty much were driving the bus and said, no, we do no clean, and that is it. And if people, it's hard to think back since 1987 that that was the year that U2 released the Joshua Tree album. So those of us that have some gray hairs will remember that. So as the 90s rolled in full steam, people decided that knew they weren't going to clean, didn't have to because they didn't underfill or they didn't conform with code. As the decades progressed, they developed flux residues that you could conform with code over. It was quickly adopted also that the residues remaining are cosmetic. It was good enough for consumer electronics. And remember that the residues left on the board after reflow are made up of activators, gelling agents, and benign resins. Everything that's on there is benign. So the rosin in the no clean flux provides this inert, non-hygroscopic cover, basically like a clear shell finish over the solder joint, and this will ensure that ions don't have a path for migration. So you were promised a lot with the no clean flux. So is it a reality? Yes, it can be, but verifying it was paramount. The residues remaining needed to be tested. The flux residues, like I mentioned, were benign. They're non-corrosive and non-conductive under normal conditions of use. Once again, good enough for many consumer electronics. So when they expose these to an elevated temperature in the humidity environment, there was no evidence of corrosion caused by the flux residues remaining. So the process for tomorrow, No clean paste and fluxes have been in use for the last 30 plus years and have had a very good track record. A giant, the number is huge, percentage of global electronics is a no clean process with no cleaning of the flux residue. If you ever have an old cell phone or, you know, kid's toy or Xbox sitting in the closet, take it apart and take a look at it. And you'll see that there's flux residue remaining on there, and those circuit boards inside were not clean. Our industry does not stand still. I've been around here for over 30 years, and that is a true fact. Paste and flux formulas will continue to advance to meet the miniaturization, automotive electronics, and aerospace. So the promise still working? Yes, it's still working. Like I said, new formulas are coming out. There are new sack and tin bismuth solder paste being developed. Even now, with SIR testing, SIR values above 100 megohm have been achieved without any dendrite formation, even with a wet flux residue on the cone patterns. And bottom line, commercial electronics will continue to strive for lower costs. Stay tuned for more details in our upcoming sessions. I've gathered some frequently asked questions on this topic. One I see a lot is, can I mix no clean and water soluble flux formulas? Yes, but the no clean flux is driving the bus now. Water alone will not remove the no clean residues. It will likely affect the clear finish, leaving it white, perhaps even powder-like. My test pins get dirty with the solder paste flux residue. What are my options? Well, there are some solder paste designed to minimize this. If you cannot switch the solder paste, the pins must be cleaned, and it's just the nature of the beast now. Here's one I see a lot, is that, can I clean these no clean residues with isopropyl alcohol? No, that's the period. It is best to leave it alone. IPA will not solubilize all the components in the flux and will leave an ugly white residue. And a final question is, how do I clean no clean solder paste for my SMT stencils or foils? Well, this will require a cleaning process that uses a cleaning agent designed for stencils. The cleaning agent also must be able to break down the constituents within the solder paste. And that brings us to the end. I'll turn it back over to Will.
Thanks, Charlie. Thank you guys for tuning into this Tech to Tech session. If you'd like to discuss this topic further or have any questions that were not answered during the session, please contact your local KYZEN regional manager or send an email to tech@kyzen.com, and we will have someone follow up with you as soon as possible. Do you want to have exclusive access to future content sent directly to your inbox, or do you know someone who would benefit from these sessions? If the answer is yes, just go to tech@kyzen.com and fill out that subscription form. And if you like this video, be sure to follow us on our social media platforms for more expert cleaning content.